Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, where's my brethren all around the world watching this video? Hope you're having a great day today as you're tuning in. Make sure you do yourself a damn favor and hit the subscribe button, and surely you will not be disappointed because we're bringing it to you guys rugged and raw here on True School Sports. And we're going to bring it to you guys rugged and raw here because, look, a lot of people in the comments, they want to talk trash about your boy BT. They want to say, like, that I'm biased towards this fight and I'm biased towards that fight, and you can have your opinions. I'm just a boxing fan. I'm just kidding. I like boxing. Now something that happened recently in the news was, Tony Bellew was flapping his gums, and before any of the UK fans come on my videos or start criticizing me, let it be known, if you haven't been on this channel before, okay, Tony Bellew is one of my favorite. When he was active, he's one of my favorite fighters fighting. I was massive fan of Tony Bellew. I was one of the only channels here on YouTube that said that he would beat David Haye the first fight. Okay, I love Tony Bellew. How can you not love Tony Bellew? Because we're both, fellow Evertonians. We both support this great football club known as Everton Football Club. So look, I got nothing but love for Bellew. I interviewed him in 2016. He was one of the nicest people I've ever met. But on True School Sports, as I have said many a time, we call a spade, and we would call a spade here because Tony Bellew is talking utter garbage out of his mouth. All right. Now, for those of you guys who have no idea what I'm talking about, Tony Bellew recently started talking about the heavyweight division, and he, obviously being a guy who's closely affiliated with Matchroom Boxing, being a Matchroom fighter, working for Matchroom Boxing's commentary and Sky Sports commentary for the Matchroom Boxing shows. Of course, he's going to naturally big up Anthony Joshua, a guy who he's also, close with personally. So here's what he said about just the heavyweight division, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. I really disagree with what he said about Wilder, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But here's what he said. Here's his whole quote. He said, I quote, "Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight in the world. Physically, athletically, everything. He is fast and explosive. He is the perfect role model. To look at where he has come from to where he is now is incredible." He then goes on by saying about Deontay Wilder, the WBC heavyweight champion. He said, I quote, "He is the worst, least technically gifted heavyweight champion ever. Deontay Wilder is the worst heavyweight champion of all time. Technically, I don't think there has ever been a worse champion. This man can't throw a power combination. This man hits the lights when he throws a right hand. He's ultimately a one-trick pony. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic trick, but it's just one. He has been exposed at top level," end quote. Now, let it be no secret, let it be known here on True School Sports that I have never been the biggest fan of Deontay Wilder. Am I a fan of Deontay Wilder? Yes, I'm a fan of boxing. But I have never been the biggest fan of Deontay Wilder. I have even, just so you guys know, in 2017, people call me a Wilder hater. Some people call me a racist. They call me all kinds of things for speaking my piece about Wilder back in 2017, because back then I thought the WBC was protecting Wilder from Ortiz with the whole drug thing, and then they had him reinstated 10 days after the Stavern fight, and I criticized Wilder, and I criticized the WBC, and I criticized his opposition, which was, to be fair, absolutely piss poor, shambolic, any negative adjective you can use. Deontay Wilder was trash as far as the resume goes before 2018. But in 2018, he stepped up to the plate. In 2018, Wilder took on Luis King Kong Ortiz. He stopped Luis King Kong Ortiz. He showed grit. He showed mettle. He fought Tyson Fury. Yes, I thought he lost the fight. I thought he got clinically and thoroughly outboxed. But in the 12th round, he hit Tyson Fury with the meanest 1-2 you will ever see in a boxing ring. And if it was any other heavyweight, they would have been stopped. They're not even moving from those kind of shots. But Fury is just a special fighter. With that being said, Bellew is absolutely in the wrong here. He's absolutely in the wrong, and I would either it's one of two things. Either he's just exaggerating and he's talking a bunch of trash to prop up AJ, get in the headlines, and do what he's told for Matchroom Boxing, or he really has just lost his damn mind and has absolutely no context of heavyweight boxing history. Now, look, I know Bellew. I've heard him speak about boxing on many occasions. He doesn't strike me as somebody who doesn't know the history of heavyweight boxing. So I'm not going to sit here and disrespect his boxing knowledge, because you don't become a world champion. You don't can't go for where he's gone in his boxing career without having a lot of boxing IQ up here. And he does have a boxing IQ, okay? So I'm not going to disrespect the man, but he's absolutely in the wrong. How the hell okay, let's think rationally here for a second. And I'm speaking as a boxing fan. Not a fan of Fury, not a fan of Joshua, not a fan of Wilder. a boxing fan. How the hell can a man who was boxing for like less than 2 years or whatever it was, how the hell could a man who wins a bronze medal, wins a world title, makes 7 or 8 title defenses, knocks down the lineal heavyweight champion in the 12th round, stops a guy in Luis Ortiz with over 200, 300 amateur fights, was getting clinically outboxed in that fight as well. How is that guy a worse heavyweight champion than someone like Charles Martin? Have we forgotten about Charles Martin? Have we forgotten about Charles Martin, Tony Bellew? The same Charles Martin that fought for one of Fury's vacant belts. He fought Glaskov, a guy who was really a career cruiserweight who's coming up to heavyweight for a title shot. There's the same Glaskov who, if I'm not mistaken, I think he lost to Steve Cunningham. I think he lost to Steve Cunningham at cruiserweight. I could be wrong, though. I don't remember. I remember they fought each other. Fought Glaskov. Won the title on a technicality because the guy slipped and broke his leg. Okay? Had to go to the hospital after the fight. All right? Then he basically sells the belt to AJ. The same guy you're propping up, the real worst heavyweight champion, sold his belt for $6 million, $7 million, $8 million to go fight AJ in the UK. And AJ, did what he did with him. And we saw the levels on the night. In the UK they say it's about levels. The levels were shown on the night. And Charles Martin was just a guy who ran into a title. As we've seen many times in the 4-belt era, there are guys who run into belts who really would not be champions in any other era. But because there's so many belts, sometimes through circumstance, guys get the luck of the draw. Look at Bermane Stiverne. Stiverne was not a great champion. He fought a guy in Chris Arreola who was fat, out of shape, never really an elite heavyweight. And fought him for a second time for the title and beat him. But Stiverne was a very short reigning heavyweight champion. So is Wilder worse than Bermane Stiverne, the same guy he beat for the belt? I mean, you can't say he's worse than Stiverne. And then the second fight, I was there in person. He freaking made a meme out of Stiverne the second time around. So you can't tell me he's worse than Stiverne, and you can't tell me he's worse than Charles Martin. How about Shannon Briggs? Much respect. Listen, and look, before I get into this, Shannon Briggs, I have the utmost respect for him as a fighter. My biggest interviews when I started this channel were with Shannon Briggs. So I got a lot of love for Shannon Briggs, and I'm actually going to write the next chapter of my book. I'm writing a book, by the way, if you don't know, Just a Kid from Dania, the untold stories of a boxing YouTuber, so stay tuned for that. But the next chapter I'm about to write soon is going to be about Shannon Briggs. But if we look at Shannon Briggs' career objectively, in my opinion, he was a much more gifted fighter than Deontay Wilder, but was he a better champion than Deontay Wilder? We have to really ask ourselves that question. It's a very easy argument to make for Wilder being a much better champion than Shannon Briggs because although Briggs was the more talented fighter, Briggs had better fundamentals, better amateur background, he had better trainers. Shannon Briggs worked with the likes of Teddy Atlas, George Benton. He even stayed at Emmanuel Stewart's house for a period of time, as he told me one time. He's been around. He never quite put it together in the ring. You see what I'm saying? And, when he won the title the first time against George Foreman, Shannon Briggs was someone that, people thought got a gift against George Foreman. And an old George Foreman at that. Then you turn around when he fought Sergey Liakovic, he was getting thoroughly outboxed by Sergey Liakovic. He looked slow. He looked lethargic. And luckily for him, he has one-punch knockout power, and he was able to knock out Liakovic with 1 second on the clock, and he became a heavyweight champion again. But he never in his career, Shannon Briggs, never made one successful title defense. Not one successful title defense. Because the next fight, when he beat Liakovic, he fought Sultan Ibragimov, and he got outboxed in that fight and lost the title. So is Wilder a worse champion than Shannon Briggs? I don't think so. He's a much better champion than Shannon Briggs was. That doesn't mean I think he was a better talent than Shannon Briggs. I just think Shannon Briggs never put it together as a fighter. And I'm not the only person that said that. Stacey McKinley said that when I interviewed him. So, he's not worse than Charles Martin. He's not worse than Bermane Stiverne. He's not worse than Shannon Briggs. I mean, do we got to keep going? Do we got to go even further back than that? How about the likes of Bruce Seldon, James Bone Crusher Smith, and guys like that? Is Deontay Wilder worse than those guys? I mean, come on. I get what people are saying. Okay, Wilder, his technically speaking, he is not to be confused with the likes of Larry Holmes or like Tyson Fury or even Joshua. He's not technically on that level. But one thing that I've learned in boxing through watching fights, studying fights, being around some of the best and most legendary fighters in the game with the best boxing minds, like a guy that I talk to a lot about boxing before is Evander Holyfield. And Evander Holyfield has said to me, Brennan, boxing is about fighting the fight that works for you. You gotta fight the fight that works for you. And the fight that works for you may not work for somebody else. So what Wilder can do, nobody else can do. You see what I'm saying? So technically speaking, yeah, he breaks all the rules. But Muhammad Ali, and I'm not comparing him to Muhammad Ali, so don't get my words misconstrued. But Muhammad Ali was a fighter who broke the rules, who fought with his hands down, who moved around the ring, who really didn't didn't really have a proper trainer in his corner, because Angelo Dundee was more of a encourager and a motivator. He wasn't necessarily a guy that was teaching Muhammad Ali the more nuanced skills of boxing. Ali was already a great fighter. He just was able to direct Ali in the way he needed to go, but he wasn't necessarily building on the strengths that Ali already had. So with Wilder, it's like he breaks all the rules, but he gets away with it because he has a gift, which is power, and he knows how to land those shots. And he showed it in the Fury fight. He showed it in the Ortiz fight. And I'm not the biggest Wilder fan, but this is BS. This is a crock. This is terrible for Tony Bellew. This is a guy that I respect. This is a guy that is one of my favorite fighters. This is a guy that is a fellow Evertonian. We both support the great Everton Football Club, so I got nothing but love for Tony Bellew. But he's in the wrong here, and I think this is just him propping up boxing, propping AJ, propping up his guy. Now, look, with Deontay Wilder, he has not technically improved to the point where you could say, well, his boxing fundamentals are A level or elite boxing fundamentals, but he has made subtle improvements over the years. If you go watch his fights, I'll give you an example. If you go watch his fights against Eric Molina, I would challenge you guys to watch this. Don't just take my word for it, because I'm just a guy. I'm just a kid from Dan talking boxing in front of a freaking camera with some boxing posters behind him. Don't take my word for it. I would implore you guys, go watch Deontay Wilder in the Eric Molina fight. Okay, he was very wild in that fight, swinging very wide, clubbing shots. Okay, then go watch him in the second Stavern fight. Yes, he was still throwing wide clubbing shots there, but the shots are a little shorter, they're more compact. And his punches have gotten shorter over the years. His punches have gotten more compact over the years. And that's why he's been able to find these shots later in the later rounds, and find these shots when he has guys hurt a little bit easier as his careers went on, because his punches have gotten shorter and he's learned how to place his punches a little better. But for those of you who just want to be a fan of this guy, be a fan of that guy, and you guys aren't studying what's really going on, to the untrained eye, Wilder's a shit heavyweight. He's a horrible heavyweight. Not a horrible heavyweight. So Bellew's in the wrong here. He's in the wrong, and I'm not even saying I don't even think Wilder's better than Joshua Fury, but he's not the worst heavyweight champion of all time. If you want to say he's the weakest champion now of the three or two champions, if you want to say he's worse than Joshua, then fine, so be it. But this is a guy that has taken his gift of being a one-punch knockout artist, and he has applied it all the way to the point to where he is one of the top best heavyweights in the world, and that is to be respected, that is to be applauded. And it's funny because if I wanted to be one of those channels that could jump on this for views, I could. And I've seen channels do that where they want to disrespect Wilder and what he's accomplished in boxing and his skill set and what he has going for him, just to prop up AJ or Fury. And y'all people who are eating up Tony Bellew and what he's saying about being the worst heavyweight champion of all time, it's one of two things. Either A, you don't have enough boxing knowledge or context of heavyweight boxing history to properly interpret where he stands in the landscape of the great heavyweights, Deontay Wilder, or you're just manipulating your subscribers for views and money. And anybody out there who has actually went on record to say that Deontay Wilder is the worst heavyweight champion of all time, you guys should honestly be ashamed of yourselves. You are a disgrace to the sport of boxing. Because look, we get it. Wilder has not fought a murderer's row of fighters. He has outside of 2018, he has a piss poor, horrible, garbage, trash, waste management. Put it in the waste management basket resume prior to 2018. But he's not close. He's not even close to the worst heavyweight of all time. And there's guys who are heavyweight contenders, heavyweight champions. I've done interviews with the likes of Chris Bird, who was heavyweight champion. The likes of Calvin Brock, who was a heavyweight contender and a U.S. Olympian. Guys who actually have some standing in the game of boxing, who will tell you that this man is a very good heavyweight, and it is to be respected. So, Bellew, I'm not going to say anything more. You're chatting utter garbage out of your mouth, And if anybody from Matchroom Boxing or Bellew happens to see this video, then so be it. I'm gonna speak the truth whether I like you or not. Look, again, I'll grab the jersey again because look, we both support Everton Football Club. Okay, so it's all love. All right, and I had a great time interviewing him, and I would love to interview Bellew again if he had the chance. And last but not least, before I even end this video, this is the same Bellew who got in Wilder's face, and mind you, I was on Bellew's side. I was completely and thoroughly on his side. He at that point in time when he was cracking those jokes on Wilder when they ran into each other that one time, and he was saying, "Oh, I have a better heavyweight resume than you do in one fight." At that point in time, it was true. He beat David Haye. Wilder had not fought the likes of Louis Ortiz or Tyson Fury yet, so he was right, and I was on his side. And you know, it's funny. I actually wanted to see him fight Deontay Wilder. I wanted to see him take that step up and see if he was really about that life. And I was encouraging him to do it. I said, damn, Bellew's got some balls. He better fight Wilder. He should fight Wilder at Goodison Park, where Everton plays, and it would have sold out in the UK. Made a video about it. But it didn't happen because they had a commentary for Sky Sports, and he was like, Wilder put his arms around me, and I realized right then and there he's too big for me at the death wish. So he's a bit, in this scenario right here, he's being a massive hypocrite. He's being a massive hypocrite. And it's very classless what he's saying, because you weren't saying that when the man was in front of you. You weren't saying that when he was thinking about fighting, when you got in his face. So keep that same energy. Keep that same energy all the time. Don't switch up because time has passed by and you want to prop up AJ, and all of a sudden you call him the worst heavyweight champion of all time. Because you're smarter than that, Bellew. You know box history. You know he's not even close to the worst heavyweight champion of all time. And if you really think that, Tony, then I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but if you really think he's the worst heavyweight champion of all time, I would really have to challenge your boxing knowledge. Straight up. As far as knowing the history of the sport, obviously as a fighter, you know more than I could ever know. I was never professional. Had big box office fights like you did. I didn't compete in big amateur tournaments like you did. But as far as knowing the history of heavyweight boxing, either you're just saying this to cause a stir and wind people up, or you got mad. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to disrespect Bellew. He is one of my favorite fighters. I love Bellew to death, but he's wrong here. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. Like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.